Hello, my name is Lucas and I'm an engagement intern at Urban Art Space. Today I'm joined by Diana Abells, one of the artists whose work is currently a part of the exhibition Timeout, which is on view at Urban Art Space Hopkins Hall Gallery. It's starting October 26th to November 5th. Timeout exhibits the work of the current and accomplished staff of the Ohio State University's Department of Art, and the exhibition displays the work of 19 artists within the faculty who help make and maintain the Ohio State University's Department of Art's vibrant and expansive program. For more information about the show, please visit us at uas.osu.edu/events/timeout. Diana, could you start by introducing yourself and telling us a bit about your practice as an artist and your work in the Timeout exhibition?
Yeah, thanks, Lucas. I am a lecturer here in the Department of Art. I mostly teach for the art and tech area. And I did get my MFA here. I was a grad student in the art and tech area. And I got my MFA in 2015. So I've been here in Columbus since then, teaching and making artwork. So the work that I have in the exhibition is a video work called The Waves Not Yet High, A Dream Floods the Shore, which is a collaborative video that I made over the course of last year with another artist who is also an MFA alum from OSU, Dan Gian. She got her MFA in 2016 in the painting and drawing area. So we collaborated together to make this work, and it's kind of finally ready this fall. So I was happy to be able to share it at OSU here in Timeout.
Oh yeah, that must be really exciting. So how did you decide to display this particular piece of work in the exhibition?
Well, in some ways, it's the most recent thing I've done. All right, it's
Right.
kind of just at the forefront of my mind that this process of exploring landscape is something that I've been doing with some of my still digital images. So I work a lot with video, but also just sort of prints as well. And landscape was something we had been Dan Gian and I have been talking about. We've been having studio visits together remotely through Zoom, and we decided we were both interested in pursuing landscape, and so we decided to work together to make that into a video work. And so this is kind of the most recent iteration of our exploration into landscape and storytelling. So yeah, it was just kind of the right time with the right work. Yeah.
When I saw your piece of work, I noticed that water was a big part of it. Could you speak a little bit about how this would relate to what you were speaking about landscape and how this ties into the piece?
Yeah, so for us, water was something that can kind of go back and forth between being a really joyful element, something that people love to engage with, to swim in. It's life sustaining, right? To drink, to grow crops, right? To just thrive. And then it also can be violent, right? That water can destroy space, that it can kill people. So there's this kind of back and forth between fear and joy associated with water that we were interested in pulling out in the landscape here. And then it's also just in terms of our artistic practice here, it's a mobile element, right? That it moves and flows. And that was something that we wanted to engage with in the landscape, was movement. And it kind of was a natural choice for us.
All right. You spoke a little bit about Dan Gian. Could you speak also about how this collaboration came about and what it was like working with someone who's not in the faculty?
Yeah, so actually after we both found ourselves as recent MFA grads, we wanted to build a sort of community space where we could get feedback from each other and kind of just have that community to encourage working on new stuff. So she lived in Columbus at that time in 2017, 2018. And we would get together in real space and work together, kind of just side by side. We weren't working collaboratively, but a lot of spontaneous conversations emerged from that experience. And then she accepted a teaching position in Fort Worth, Texas at TCU, Texas Christian University. And so she's teaching art there now. And so we were trying to figure out how to replace our in-person visits. And then that all kind of coincided with the pandemic. And then the rise of, the technology of Zoom kind of became a natural thing for us. So we just ended up using that time together online to say, what can we work on remotely? What will that process look like? So we did have to kind of like decide logistically, like how we were going to share files, how we were going to give each other feedback as we built this thing together. And a lot of it was just meeting regularly to have the time to schedule the time. It's always a thing, constantly is where can I carve out this time to be together and work on something. So her primary focus is in drawing, painting and drawing, and she created all of the sort of charcoal drawings that you see here. A lot of them were made with charcoal dust, powder, kind of embedded onto the page, and with a variety of other tools as well. And then she would cut them out and then arrange them on other like larger pieces of paper, and then photograph and get them into the computer. And that's my role comes in digitally, that I can begin to compile all of the things that she would create, and we would build them together into the landscape. And then I animated a lot of found video images or video files into the landscape, moving through it, animating the different sequences. So kind of bringing those to a time-based realm.
Well, that's really interesting to see how traditional and digital art come together in your piece.
Yeah.
Could you also speak about the audio and how that came about as well?
Yeah, so the audio is certainly like an element that we don't have a ton of experience with. That was something that we kind of pushed our knowledge of. So we tried to keep it pretty simple, but Dan actually recorded some sound effects on like a little electronic piano that we ended up using. So a lot of it was just experimental, like just recording sounds and seeing what we liked. A lot of the water sounds come directly from the found footage. So this was a lot of just kind of like combing through the internet, looking for videos, just kind of like really ordinary videos. I'm always drawn to like someone just like in their backyard looking at a stream, or so, not like anything commercially produced per se, but just kind of really ordinary things and like just interesting water sounds like they came out of the camera in that moment. So pulling that audio from those clips. There was also a bunch of NASA clips, which are just part of a like public domain for use from like the 1960s, 70s. And so I pulled footage from there and added a few like kind of default sound effects for some of that. But yeah, we just tried to keep it atmospheric to just kind of give a sense of the landscape, and kind of add maybe like thinking of the sound a little bit as like an annotation to the visual as well.
Great. Oh, that is really interesting. On a more general scale, could you speak about your work as an artist and your work as an educator? And is there a relationship between the two, and how would they relate to one another?
Yeah, so I think I'll start with this concept of being an educator. I think for me, teaching is a way of continually thinking about practice, like how does one kind of regularly practice being an artist. And that's something that I want to share with my students, is how to move beyond just using the basic tools and say, how can you explore, how can you move beyond the default idea? And I think that's important to reiterate, to kind of get into new ways of seeing, new ways of dealing with material that's familiar, to say, how can I think about this in a new way? And, so that process of teaching for me is, again, like just a constant reminder of like how to approach that. And, that I'm always, coming to the classroom from my own experiences and as an artist, saying what works for me, or what are some techniques and skills that I can share that might help other students develop their process. And my process also has been rooted in digital media. So working on the computer primarily is my main medium, working with animation and video and digital imaging. So that's also, a way of thinking about using familiar technology that might often be used in kind of our everyday lives, or even in like traditionally thought of as a commercial practice. How to step out of that preconceived idea of what digital art might look like, and then push the boundary of it.
Great, thank you. So in the exhibition, the pieces displayed varied in medium and style. And I guess to close off, what do you think this says about the diversity of the Department of Art at Ohio State?
Yeah, so I think it's a strength of any art program is that there's people with diverse backgrounds, diverse skill sets, working in different mediums. And I think that's super essential for, working with a student body that's always changing, that has lots of different ideas, that wants to think about things in new ways, so that, we can answer those questions, that we can say, oh, you should try working with this material, this person, has a good experience with that, or even just conceptual background and ideas and ways of storytelling that are coming out of, different processes and practices. So I think that that's always a really great thing. And I think the other thing is, that a lot of artists here are really familiar with lots of different mediums as well, right? That we don't kind of lock ourselves into, one format, one medium, that, I am interested in pushing into drawing, and I work a lot with digital collage, but paper collage is also something I thought about, and installation has been a big part of my work in the past. So building things, thinking about space, that, I'm happy to have great colleagues that, can share lots of different ideas amongst ourselves too, right? That we can talk about those things and grow our own practices as well.
All right. Thank you for your wonderful insights. It was great to engage in discussion about your work in Timeout and beyond. For our audience, to watch the recording, please head to our website at uas.osu.edu/events/timeout.
Great, thanks, Lucas.
Thank you.